Hey everyone, this is part 3 of our Subaru car camping platform series. In the past videos, we spent some time talking about building our platform, the finer details, and the thought that went behind it. And this time around, we wanted to show more of an inside, fully furnished version of our platform build.
And you'll notice there's some empty spots and things like that. That's normally where we would have our dog or things for our dog. So we'll kind of point that out too. So there may be some empty spots, but other than that, this is the fully furnished. All right, so first we're gonna start on the back. This is as if we parked, right in the campground or the place that we're camping or things like that. But this is as is. So this is what it's like when we're driving or traveling in the car. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a space in the middle. Normally that's where Titus would be posted up. And we have like a blanket down to make sure that our foam, mattress or foam thing that we use to kind of lay on is protected and stuff. But this is as is. So we'll talk about our containers that are here. We have our cooler. Notice how we kind of cover this with one of our blankets. We have additional stuff over here on this side for bedding, pillows, blankets. You'll notice this is the cubby we kind of keep some of our gear in. And then you notice behind the seats and things, we have packs we'll talk about, sleeping bags, tents, like all that stuff. And we really don't have to show the other side because that's normally where we keep dog stuff. So it's totally empty right now. But that would be like the dog cubby. And our next step is we'll kind of open things up and we'll show you what it's like as if we were, next step is setting up shop.
So here is everything set up as if we parked wherever we were parking for the night. We were ready to relax and just lay everything out. So as you can see, the bed is laid out up here. And we have these 2 bins that we always keep back here for any road trip, car camping situation, and they are so helpful. We normally have this one be more of the food cooking type bin. We have our big water gallon and some cooking materials. We keep food in there, an extra little towel for cleaning things off. So that's that one. And then we normally use this one, and depending on the trip, this is sometimes stuffed incredibly full, but some clothes in there. We also have our packs like we showed in the car behind the driver and passenger seat for additional clothing, blankets, whatever we need. But this is super nice to have. Yeah, these bins are super handy. They're only about 6 or 7 inches tall, so there's room if you needed to slide more things for more storage. You could slide things on top of each side, even off to the side here. There's wiggle room in those little cubbies. But yeah, so this is what the bed looks like completely laid out. The foam mattress is under there. We normally just stick a blanket right on top of it. There's a blanket for sleeping, 2 pillows up there. We can come off to the side here and maybe take a look further at, just like we said, this is normally our dog cubby, so that is why it's empty. Packs, extra things off to the side up here. These pieces are fully laid out. When we were driving, this 3rd piece was folded over. But yeah, so super easy. Definitely not perfect. It was an old bed, mattress pad. So definitely not a perfect system, but super comfy overall, and it's been really easy to set up for us wherever we drive and camp. So this is the other side of the middle section of the car. Like we mentioned earlier, we showed this when we first pulled in, when things were kind of stored different places and folded up. But pillow here, blanket here. In this little cubby, we normally keep trekking poles. Our tent is here. Another pack is there. In the middle section there, we keep our sleeping bags, just anything extra we might need. These cubbies on the side are super convenient. I know for me personally, when I'm car camping and when I'm sleeping right here, I'll keep my toiletries right here, anything else I might need throughout the night, and they're just really handy to have. Our seats, the driver's and passenger seat, can push forward even more if you wanted some more space in here. Ours are pushed forward a little bit, but they could extend forward even more if you wanted even more room or more headspace right here as well.
So the other thing that we want to talk about was that cooler that you saw at the beginning. This works perfectly for us. It's got like a basket to keep some other things on top. I won't totally get into that. Everyone has a cooler that works for them. But what we do is when we have the campground set up, the car set up and things like that, is we do have just a common bike chain. We can tie that up. We have a bear lock as well. A lot of these Yeti coolers have that little notch in the corner where you can put this in to kind of make sure that people don't get into things or animals don't get into things as well, because that's important. So typically we would have that to the wheel well and to the tire or the rim, something like that, to kind of make sure that, you know, it's not being taken. So that is the cooler. Just we usually keep that by a tire. So kind of working our way back after the cooler, just wanted to touch on these chairs. We have little tripod chairs, whatever you want to call those, that we can use for like when we're making coffee around a fire, stuff like that. But we also have these camping chairs that typically, if you're, you know, going to be relaxing after a hike or something like that, to kind of, you know, stretch your legs out and things like that. We usually set these up around the car as well. And then kind of shifting gears into the next phase. So I know we talked about when we arrive at the campground, everything is laid out. Sarah touched on those things that are in the middle of the seat, all that space, those sleeping bags, our rucks, things like that. Next thing that we're gonna kind of work our way into is just kind of showing what it's like when as if we were gonna go to bed or like go to sleep, right? So you kind of tie some things up, these chairs get moved in, all those other things. We'll show you what that looks like next.
Okay, so this is more of our sleep mode if we are ready to car camp for the night or wherever we happen to be. Obviously this setup might look a little bit different depending on the location of where we're car camping, whether it's a busy campground or more of a remote place. So we have these nets that we put over the car windows, and all 4 windows are covered in these nets. They are definitely not perfect, but they do a fantastic job at just some extra privacy. And then if we needed to crack the windows a little bit, they do a good job of keeping. We normally don't camp in areas with a ton of mosquitoes or anything, but they do keep any bugs, extra little things out, but still give us the privacy that we need. So if we come back here, handy, just easy magnetic back cover. There's a magnetic strip on top and a magnetic strip on the bottom. So this is some privacy for the back window while we're in there. If we follow right along, here are 2 nets. On this side, in the front of the car, we have just one of those sun privacy screens that you can see in here, that we've kind of rigged up to just give us some privacy wherever we might be. So that is kind of an overview of what we do when we are in the car, when we want the privacy. And like we mentioned before, we would, depending on where we are, we would either lock up the cooler. Depending on the size of your cooler or what you use, it might work best for you while you're sleeping to keep your cooler in your passenger seat or your chairs in your passenger seat. But with a dog, sometimes we need that extra room, so we can kind of lock things up on the outside of the car as needed.
All right, so I am in the build. I'm in the setup. It's all closed up as if it were to be, you know, bedtime, sleeping time. You know, this is the middle of the day right now, so obviously pretty bright, but at night it does a really good job blocking things out. I am about 6 foot with shoes on, especially 6 foot. And I fit in here pretty well. You know, I'm posted up here. My head's on a pillow as if I were on the other side. There's the blanket we would share as well. Like Sarah mentioned earlier, we could, you know, crack the windows, things like that, which is what we typically do. Yeah, it's pretty cozy in here, pretty nice. Like I said, I have plenty of room. Like I'm up against this wall and there's still, you could probably fit, you know, 2 more bodies lengths. Obviously we wouldn't have 3 people, but 2 people is plenty. You know, another thing that we also keep in here is we have this overhead net, which right now you can see our clipboards in there. But this overhead net is perfect for keeping headlamps, like Sarah said, like contacts sometimes, stuff like that. We keep, you know, phones, things like that that you need, you know, to see at night if you got to pop out, use the bathroom, stuff like that, let the dog out. This is kind of what it's like if you were to look toward the front seat. Everything looks pretty good. Like I said, you know, at nighttime it's a pretty big difference. But right now this is kind of bright in here. But yeah, this is it from the inside. I know lots of people mentioned they wanted to see, like, do you actually fit in there? Yes, we do. The other thing I wanted to mention, someone had reached out to us as well and talked about, could you move or could you put the the build back further. There, I don't know if you can kind of tell the mattress. Give me 1 second. Let me spin around. I can move about pretty easy here. The mattress kind of extends a little bit. There's some stuff down there. You could fit plenty of stuff. Sometimes we put shoes down there, like hiking boots and stuff like that. There's plenty of room when you peel this mattress back to do stuff. There's our bins and things. You can keep stuff there. So if you could find a way to get around this little landmark, you could run it back probably in easily another 2 inches. You could do more than that, but with this Subaru, the Outback, the tailgates, they're curved on the sides, so if you're running a square build that you're sleeping on, unless you rounded those edges, you might have a little bit of problem there. But you could move it back a little bit. I know someone wanted to make sure I touched on that because we appreciate those comments and questions we get. But I think that's pretty much about it. I'll hop out here and we can kind of show what it's like when we pack up. All right, now it's all tied up. It's all good to go. Everything's folded back, kind of back into where we had it when we first got here. Packed away. And I even did some timing. Oh, let me see. And it was 4 minutes and 8 seconds. You see that? That's all it took. Because I know that was another question, is how long does it take to put it all back? Not that long, actually. And that's all the different covers and all the different screens, everything folded back. Obviously there's no dog to manage right now, so it's a little bit quicker, but everything's back where it belongs.
So there is our fully furnished, fully equipped car camping mode version of our Subaru platform build that we did. This is, just in case anyone's curious, this is a 2011 Subaru Outback. Again, not every system that we have in place is perfect, but this is what works for us. Everything is simple, really easy to set up and break back down.
Yeah, and continue with those comments and things like that. They definitely help us with the videos. We appreciate the comments, and hopefully, we've had some people reach out to us, and this build has been helpful to them. So hopefully we can continue to help you guys with your creations and things like that, your travels, and yeah, we appreciate it. So next time, be on the lookout. We're gonna start to look at maybe some of those gear. We talked about the cooler, things like that, specifically what that is, if you're interested in that, because it does fit in well. So if you're looking to kind of match what we're doing, be on the lookout for episode 4, which is like, I guess, the finer details, since we've already done a finer detail.
Yeah,
so.
more of a car camping essentials, more
Yes.
of the nitty gritty.